Hey guys, I hope you're having a fantastic day. So, Shezzy Boy here, Shezzy Kun, Shez, whatever you want to call me. Today, I wanted to bring you another one of my details of videos that I do for my main parodies. In this video, I am going to point out some of the more obscure Easter eggs that I didn't see mentioning in the comments, that I find a little bit more obscure, you know, than people might have missed. And some secrets that are inside of the animation that are very, very well hidden. It's kind of like a treasure hunt that I did about this parody, where you can find some secret things that are recurring during the entire length of the parody. So before we get into all of this, I wanted to say thank you so much for enjoying the parody for Elden Ring. I gotta say, you know, it was one of my best received animations I've ever done. The comments were absolutely amazing. It was like one of the best comment section I ever had in a video. So I thank you deeply for watching it, for enjoying it. It means a lot to me. Okay, so first off, the class. This class is actually the one that I used in my first playthrough. I decided to go for the bandit, and I chose, well, of course he has a bow, you know, like the class has a bow. And just like in the animation, I basically stopped using the bow the moment that I exit, I think it was Limgrave maybe, or maybe even when I was already in Limgrave, I was like, I don't know if I if I should use the bow because it's kind of clumsy. But in hindsight, I would have used the bow way more, but I wasn't really, I really didn't understand how the cookbooks worked to craft, you know, the arrows, you know, so I could have used maybe some sleeping arrows or fire arrows, but I didn't know anything about that. I was just confused. So at some point I just stopped using the bow. But yeah, what you see in the parody is pretty much what I used in my actual game, because I was using the falchion as my main weapon. At some point I think I used also the weapon from Morgoth, but that's about it. You know, I used the falchion for my entire playthrough. And yeah, my parodies usually are very, you know, similar to my actual experience with the game. Look at this, even the Yoshi doll is accurate. I was like clenching the Yoshi doll when I was getting destroyed by the Godskin duo. Okay, for the Easter eggs, let's start with one that is kind of simple, you know, not too outlandish. So you see that staff right there? That is from Berserk. It's the witch Shirky. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I'm a big Berserk fan, you know, so I couldn't help myself. I had to put this Easter egg. So this right here, this is not the Torre Eiffel. This is the Tokyo Tower. So the reason why I put this is because the whole idea of the world that I created in the animation, there's the Divine Towers, right? And the Divine Towers in the parody, they have some sort of like satellite dish, and they're supposed to kind of like amplify the signal from the main router, right? So being the Tokyo Tower a transmission tower, it made sense in the context of the world that I envisioned for the parody to kind of like being a transmission device, you know, that along with the satellite dish on top of the Divine Towers, they're amplifying the signal for the router. This map that you see right here, this is the world map from Final Fantasy VII. Didn't see anyone mentioning this, but I think it's because it appears on screen for such a short time. Right there, there's a dirt bike in the sand. Enough said. If you read this, you are cool. This was one that I was really pleased to include, because as I was publishing the parody, Tears of the Kingdom just came out. That's the adhesive that you use using the Ultra Hand in Tears of the Kingdom when you're trying to attach things together. This Easter egg here is also pretty, I would say, vanilla, you know, but White Mask Var here is using the bloody finger to write on his notebook. So Torrent right here, the kind of like expression with the crossed eyes. The inspiration for this was Jack Nicholson in The Shining, when, you know. So at the beginning of the video, I was talking about some secrets that are in this animation. So There's three categories of things, and I'm gonna tell you about these in order of, I suppose, difficulty that is gonna take you to find these secrets. The first one is finding all the skulls that are smoking. I know it seems weird, and there's a bunch of them. Then the next one is Miyazaki. He appears in the parody 10 times. One of these times is the beginning, during the introduction. So I leave to you to find all the others. There's 9 more that you need to find. But the biggest secret, the biggest treasure hunt of this whole video is finding all the eyes, okay? So there's eyes that are scattered around the parody. These eyes are meant to be the eyes that Gideon Ofnir is using to spy on people. And this theme is also present in the game. There's actual bits of the lore that describe Gideon as someone that can spy on people by using, you know, birds or even like actual eyes that are planted around the world, you know, to being able to spy on you, you know, and that's the reason why he's able to be ahead of you all the time. So I took this theme about Gideon Ofnir and I decided to litter the whole parody with this eye symbol that is recurring every now and then, and they're pretty well hidden. So all I'm gonna tell you is that there's 25 of these eyes, and I hope you have fun trying to find all of them. And by the way, I am in the process of completing the art book for this parody. It's gonna be on my Patreon for my highest tier Patreons. And so people that are gonna be able to check out the art book, right there I'm going to show each one of these hidden eyes that are in the parody. So if you're one of those people that are supporting me on Patreon, look forward for the art book, because I will reveal each one of these locations, and you can check if you were able to find all of them. So as you can see here, Lanciax, or Lanciax, I don't know how to pronounce that. I gave her like some sort of eyelashes because according to the lore, this is a female dragon. Renala's divorce papers from Radagon casually flying by. That box right there is a reference to Resident Evil 4 Remake, because there was like a little bit of a controversy for the fact that in the game they made the boxes where you can find the items kind of like painted with yellow, or rather there's like some kind of like yellow tape over them, which makes it a little bit too easy to find items, because you're like, oh, there you go, you know, that's a box or like a crate with a yellow tape. This Easter egg right here, it has a little bit of an interesting story. It's a little bit of a nod to the lore of the game, because when you talk to Kenneth Haidt, he's mentioning some stories about Godric the Grafted, and one of these stories goes like this. I'll show you the video.
Lord? Oh, don't make me laugh. First, he hid himself amongst the womenfolk to flee the capital, then hid from Radahn in that castle.
And so the painting that I put here, which by the way, I was drawing this when I was on Twitch. So people were like giving me feedback if they liked it. You know, if I, for instance, some people told me, hey, maybe you should make so that he's using like his grafted hand to steal like an apple from the poor woman right there, which was such a good idea, by the way. And so yeah, this painting is meant to be like a reference to the lore of the game for people that really pay attention. And I think I'm gonna also do this in other instances in the sequel. I'm gonna also put other paintings that reference the lore of the game. Okay, this one I really like. So Margot reveals, or rather Margit in the parody reveals to actually be George R.R. Martin, right? And so I gave him the hat, you know, and then I encountered, like while I was researching pictures of George R.R. Martin, I discovered that he had this kind of like a turtle pin on his hat, and it turns out there's a story behind it. Basically, George R.R. Martin said that he when he was like a child, he didn't have any pets, you know, like, rather he didn't have dogs or cats, but he had like turtles because it was the only pet that he could keep in his house. So he said even that when he was a child, he used to kind of play with them and pretend that they were like actors, you know, like kings and queens and stuff like that. So for George R.R. Martin, the turtle is a very important, I suppose, symbol, you know. And so that's why in some pictures on his hat, he has a pin that shows a turtle. There is a talisman in Elden Ring called the Green Turtle Talisman, I think, which gives you more stamina. And so in the scene right after, it's supposed to make sense because he has this little talisman that allows him to have a lot of stamina, or infinite stamina. You see that dude right there, the scientist on the right? That one is actually a reference to the first Half-Life game.
Oh dear!
This one is a little bit more subtle. So see the alarm? Well, it's a bed chamber, you know, so being a bed chamber, an alarm makes sense. You know, like on an old school alarm, an analogic alarm, the thing that kind of hits on the little bell, you know, that makes the sound, is called the hammer, you know? So the thing that you see right there, you see right there is the hammer from Radagon. You know, since he's using a hammer, I thought it would be a good idea, like a funny idea to make the hammer look like the hammer from Radagon. The writing that you see on the ring here is actually Elvish from Tolkien, and it says, "Get wrecked." By the way, there's another part in the parody where the Elvish language comes back, and you can translate it into something. I will not tell you exactly where it is, you know, but if you find another thing that has the same kind of writing, you can also translate it into something. Oh, what was that? Let me go back. Let me go frame by frame. Oh! The legend. Did you know that in the, I think the first couple of versions of the game, there was a glitch where if you run towards Radagon as soon as you spawn in the fight and you stay next to him, his AI is gonna freeze. So until you attack, he's going to be frozen in place. So this whole thing where I go towards Radagon and I stay on his side, giving him a sick burn, it's a reference, it's like an homage to this glitch that you can do in the game. Now I believe that now they patched it, you know, but the first week when the game was out, you could actually do this. So who is Mr. P? It's Patches. It's Patches. It's the same voice actor, it's just Patches. Because he's a fucking asshole that wants to scam you because he's Patches, right? So of course it's Patches, Mr. P. It's Patches. So I saw some people, even like in a humorous way, making fun of the fact that, oh, Shez, you know, you should know that bleed doesn't work on Elden Beast. Bro, I know. But this is actually how I did it. Like, because I was so desperate to use the ranged attack of the... Because my playthrough of Elden Ring was... I didn't use any magic, right? I only used the Ashes of War, specifically Bloody Slash. And to me, it worked perfectly because I was like far enough from the bosses, from the enemies, to feel comfortable, even though there was like a trade-off of the fact that you're slow, and of course that you lose HP. So yes, I ended up killing Elden Beast using Bloody Slash. This is exactly what happened in my playthrough. But even better, the ending of the parody is exactly what happened in my playthrough. I was able to kill Elden Beast and I died because of Elden Stars as I was killing Elden Beast. I swear to you. I swear to you, it's exactly what happened. And in fact, I had to basically like go back to like a previous save that thankfully I actually had because I did a backup. Because I wasn't able to get any runes. Because I finished the game, I wasn't able to do the fight again, but I didn't get any runes. So I completely lost all the runes that I got from the fight. I will always remember that moment because this was the game as it just came out. You know, so Elden Beast was even more bullshit. And so being able to do it, you know, after also killing Radagon and also the Elden Beast, it was pretty hyped. You know, I was like, oh my god, I did it. And then I died. So yeah, this is completely adherent to my personal experience. So yes, I know that Elden Beast is resistant to bleed, but that's exactly how I did it. I love to put this kind of stuff in the animation, you know, because it's exactly my personal experience with the game. There's a couple of transitions, like video transitions, that I consciously made in the animation which I'm really proud of, you know, because they kind of make things flow a little bit better visually. So for instance here, as I'm petting Sarosh, right after the scene, I'm using my hand to place it in front of the fog gate. So I felt like this kind of like continuation of the gesture kind of felt nice, and it just worked, you know. So I wanted to use it like that. But there's other examples of this. For instance, right here, when I'm getting squashed by the golems, it cuts into the hammer hitting the anvil, which I also found interesting. You know, there's some filmmakers that they use this kind of like cut sometimes. So I'm trying to like make my parodies look a little bit more cinematic, I suppose, you know, and so it's nice to introduce some of these ideas every now and then. So the reason why Gideon has a weird statuette right there, that's the Waluigi Wiggler combo from Mario Kart 8, which is known for being a very toxic combination of kart and character that tends to be like the meta of the game. So it ruins basically all attempt from other people to use different characters, because that's usually, it was for a long time basically the meta combination of kart and character. Many of you guys know this already, but I am very, very accurate when it comes to the depiction of my of my kitchen. You've seen it in so many times now, but as you can see, it's exactly like in the parody. It's 1-to-1. Even the cats right here, this is the cats that I had when I was living in my parents' house, and the plant too. This is a plant that I had for I think 10 years. It never dies, like immortal. And then here there's a map where you can pinpoint the places where you have been in the world. I feel like unfortunately I don't have enough pins to put them everywhere, you know, so there's some locations missing. And so with that said, guys, I wanted to thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I am working right now on a short parody that takes place in Anor Londo, and I have completed the animated sketches for it. So now I'm going to the next phase, which is the cleanup, outline and coloring. And after this small little parody, this little short, I will go back to Elden Ring and work on the sequel. I am already working on it. I am gathering ideas, I'm doing storyboards, but for now I want to finish first the Anor Londo episode, which is gonna be really, really fun. And if you want to support what I do and have your name featured in my next animation, please consider becoming a patron, even with just like a small donation. Knowing that you have my back and you support me and you believe in what I do and you want me to continue will mean a lot to me. And so yeah, that's about it. I'll see you guys in the next one, okay? Bye-bye.